So a little bit of Unicameral 101, and it was all new to me. So day one, raise your right hand and swear the oath. We start on the first Wednesday of the year, and that's when we're sworn in. And up until that point, as a freshman center, you don't have staff, you don't have computers, you don't have an office. But within a day or two, you have all of those things, and then you have within the first 10 days to put in any bills that you want to have considered this year. So you have 10 days, and in 10 days, our 49 senators put in about 820 bills to be considered for this year. So also on the first day, we elect the chairman of the 14 standing committees. And that's pretty key because they have a lot of power. And then that evening, the committee of committees gets together and they assign the 49 senators to all of their committees. There are 1-day committees, 2-day committees, 3-day committees, and then there is one 5-day committee, and that's appropriations. Appropriations is very powerful. They meet 5 days, they're only on one committee, and they're the ones who really put together the spending side of the budget. So I am on my 3-day committee is Judiciary Committee. We heard 137 bills this year. I'm also on Agriculture, and we heard maybe 12, 15 bills. And then General Affairs, and General Affairs does gambling, it does tobacco, it does all the sins, and then it does has the cemeteries and the libraries. So and that meets on Mondays, Agriculture meets Tuesdays, and then Judiciary meets Wednesday through Friday. And so that's the way we kind of started out. The first 2 weeks we were 3 hours on the floor in the morning, and then we were in committees in the afternoon. And when the committees, the way they work is that is the opportunity for Nebraskans to come and express their opinion. Any bill that comes to the floor, eventually comes to the floor, must have a public hearing. Must have a public hearing. And so the chair will schedule what he thinks is a reasonable number, 5, 6, 7 bills, and we sit and we hear proponents, opponents, and neutral testimony. I think the longest we went was 10 o'clock one night. Most of the time we were finished by 6 or 7 p.m. So we started off in the first 2 weeks doing morning on the floor and then committees in the afternoon. And the third and fourth week we went all day in committees to hear as many of these bills as we could. And then we went back to a morning afternoon schedule, and we heard all 800 bills. I mean, they all made it through committee. And now, starting last week, we went all day long on the floor, and now we are going from 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 p.m. at night. Now, some of that's been driven by the filibuster that's currently going on. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the way a bill advances is first it's got to get out of committee. And right now, our committees are pretty heavily weighted on the conservative side. There's only one committee that has a majority of Democrats, that is Urban Affairs, headed by Senator McKinney. The rest of them, there's 3, I think, that are split 4 and 4, and then the rest are all typically 5-3 Republican. So you're going to see mostly conservative bills coming out of those committees. And then to get to the floor, you really need to have a priority. You have to put a priority in your bills, and that's where Bonnie came up with 100 bills. We got 800 bills that were submitted, but only 107 of them have priority. And each senator can do 1 priority bill, each committee can do 2 priority bills, and the speaker can do 25 priority bills. And we rack and stack them, and there are 107 bills that have priorities. And in a good year, we'd hear all 107. But that brings me to the filibuster. So once a bill comes out of committee, it goes into what's called the general file. And it's debated, and then it's voted on, and then it moves to a select file, where it's debated and voted on, and then it goes to final reading, where it is debated and voted on, and then it goes to the governor, and the governor can sign it or he can veto it, and then if he vetoes it, it comes back to the legislature for a potential override, and it takes 30 votes to override the governor's veto. Okay, so that all sounds really good. If you held your debates down to a couple hours per bill, you could run through those 107 in a reasonable amount of time. But there is a caveat, really, it supports the minority group that you can debate a bill indefinitely. For general file, it's 8 hours. So you can take one bill and you can filibuster, you can debate on that bill for 8 hours. At the end of 8 hours, then you have a cloture vote, it's called the cloture, and you have to have 33, 2/3 essentially, 33 senators to end debate and then vote on the bill. So you can have 33, you only need 25 to pass a bill, but you need 33 to stop debate. If you can't get 33, well then the bill gets pulled at that point, it's probably not going any further. So that's kind of where we've been. These bills, all the bills so far have been filibustered. We're going 8 hours. So it takes 8 hours in general, it takes 4 hours in select, and it takes 2 hours in final reading. So it's 14 hours of debate to get a bill through. So we're starting at 9 o'clock in the morning and we're finishing at 11 p.m. So you can get through one bill in one day. You don't do them in sequence, so you're staggering different bills, different days. That's all what the speaker puts together. But we're making progress now. So there's a little trick. It's not really a trick. I mean, it's legal. And it really started with the committees. The committees, they have two bills that they can prioritize. Okay, so what they do is they take one bill and they make it an umbrella bill and they tack on 2 or 3. Okay, so it's a priority bill, but it's really 4 bills coming forward to the floor. And it's been through the committee, and typically these are bills that have either no fiscal note or low fiscal note, and everybody on the committee thinks it's a really good idea, and they come to the floor. And this has been done in the past, okay, so this is nothing new. So, and we did that with our general affairs. We had a gambling bill, we had tobacco bill, no, it was alcohol bill. We had an alcohol bill, we had a gambling bill, and we were able to tack on about 3 bills on each one of those and get them through the floor. They were filibustered. It took 8 hours, 4 hours, but they're making it through the progress. But if you do all that, well, then you're still looking at maybe only 30 bills or so that you're going to be able to get through. So instead of tacking on 3 bills, we're tacking on 20. So that's what you're going to see in the next few weeks. You're going to see a major bill, an overarching umbrella bill, and then you're going to see about 18 to 20 bills tacked onto that. And they'll be debated for 8 hours, and it'll go through the filibuster process, but instead of approving one bill at a time, we'll be approving like 20 bills at a time. And hopefully we will get through all the priority bills in that manner. The downside of that is you really don't get good debates. I mean, instead of doing one bill in 2-3 hours, now you're doing 20 bills in 8 hours. So it kind of subverts the system, but if we want to get some business done in the Unicameral, that's kind of what we need to do. And we do have a strong majority on the conservative side, and we're going to do the best we can to advance those bills. The other thing you got to think about is it's 2-year, each legislature is 2 years. This is a 90-day, in odd years it's 90 days, but you have to, at the beginning, you have to swear everybody in, you have to approve all the governor's appointees, you have to elect the chairman of the committees. You got to do a lot of housekeeping stuff up front. Well, you don't have to do that in the second year. You just keep all the same folks, and so it's only 60 days. So this year we're on 90 days. Yesterday was 58, the 58th day. So next Wednesday will be 2/3. We'll be at the 60-day point. And we still have 30 days of legislature to work through these bills. So it's not as doom and gloom as you might have heard. It's people aren't getting ready to kill each other on the floor, and I think we have a plan to move a lot of bills forward.